before the era of grand estates along the shores of Lake Erie, back when the land in eastern Michigan was still wild and unyielding. A trapper named Simone made his home at Grosse Pointe. After the death of his wife, he poured all of his strength into raising their daughter, Archange. To Simone, she was his pretty flower, and to the young men of the settlement, she was the belle of every dance. Among them was Pierre Lafontaine, a simple farmer who won her heart. As their wedding day neared, Pierre would row across the lake just to spend a few moments with her on the beach. But one evening, Archange found herself face to face with a monster. It had the head of a wolf, the body of a man, and eyes that froze her where she stood. Simone came running when he heard her scream, though he only caught a glimpse of the creature as it vanished into the trees. But he had heard stories. Everyone had. The Loup-garou, a shape-shifting half-beast, half-human, known to haunt the wilderness, searching for young women. Simone consoled his daughter, but he couldn't shake the dread. On the day of her wedding, Archange was gathering wildflowers when she once again encountered the creature. She fled, narrowly escaping, but the celebration went on. That is, until the Loup-garou returned, bursting into the festivities and snatching the bride from her husband's arms and vanishing into the forest. Pierre led a desperate pursuit, but returned broken and defeated. His bride was gone. Pierre would often be seen wandering the swamps, clutching a scrap of his wife's dress, lost in his own madness. They still say the footprint of the wolf remains, pressed forever into the rocks along Lake Erie.
Right, so I've just watched The Dawn of Dogman 2025, the documentary, not the horror film. And I've got to say, I wasn't expecting to be as pulled in as I was. It's one of those late night cup of tea, I'll just stick this on for 20 minutes, sort of watches. And then suddenly it's 1 a.m. and you're Googling cryptids. The film follows a small team of researchers trekking through forests in the American Midwest, chasing reports of this so-called dogman. Proper folklore stuff. Half man, half canine. Standing upright. Glowing eyes. You know the type. Now normally I'm a bit sceptical about these things, and the documentary does have that slightly dramatic tone, but it never goes full silly. It actually tries, bless it, to treat the subject seriously. What I like most is that it focuses more on the people than the creature. There's interviews with locals who swear blind they've seen something out there, and they don't come across as mad, just unsettled. One bloke describes hearing heavy footsteps circling his cabin at night, and honestly, the way he tells it, you sort of believe him, or at least you believe that he believes it. The cinematography is surprisingly beautiful. Loads of misty woods at dawn, long, quiet shots of trees creaking in the wind. It gives the whole thing a moody, almost poetic feel. Sometimes it drags a tiny bit, I won't lie. There's a few moments where you think, all right, we get it, it's spooky woodland, but it does build atmosphere quite well. The experts they bring in, folklorists, wildlife specialists, even a psychologist, add a bit of balance. It's not just campfire stories. They explore possible explanations like misidentified animals or sleep paralysis, which I appreciated. It makes it feel less like a YouTube conspiracy rabbit hole and more like an actual documentary, even if it does lean into the mystery for dramatic effect. There's one night vision sequence about halfway through that genuinely made me tense. Nothing massive happens, but you hear this distant howl that doesn't sound quite wolf, not quite human either. Could it be edited for drama? Probably, but in the moment, it works. If I had to criticise it, I'd say it doesn't really come to a firm conclusion. It sort of circles around the idea that the legend of Dogman says more about us, about fear of the unknown and all that, than about any real creature, which is fair enough, but I was half hoping for a bit more of a decisive ending. Instead, it fades out on another sunrise shot, and a voiceover about mystery still walking among us. Bit dramatic, but all right. Overall, though, I found The Dawn of Dogman oddly compelling. It's not earth-shattering, and it's not going to convert hardened skeptics, but it's atmospheric, thoughtful in places, and surprisingly human. If you like folklore, unsolved mysteries, or just fancy feeling slightly uneasy before bed, it's worth a watch. Just maybe don't watch it alone in a house that creaks I made that mistake, and let's just say every little noise had me glancing at the window. Probably nothing out there, probably.